All right, you sick fucks, welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're going balls deep into some seriously fucked up shit.
Oh, yeah.
The Nazi salute.
Oh, God.
You know that stiff-armed wanker move?
Yeah.
Those fascist pricks love so much. We're gonna rip the skin off that gesture and see what makes it tick.
And trust me, it's a hell of a lot more complicated than just some angry German waving their arm around.
Damn right. Now, before we get into all that,
Yeah.
let's make one thing crystal fucking clear. We're not here to glorify those Nazi bastards.
Wow.
We're here to dissect this gesture, see where it came from, how it spread like a goddamn virus,
Right.
and why it still pisses people off today.
Think of it like a historical autopsy. We're cutting through the bullshit to expose the guts of this salute and understand why it's still so potent, even decades after those Nazi fuckers got curb stomped.
Love it. Now, you might think those goose-stepping assholes invented this salute themselves, right? Like it just magically popped into existence with Hitler screaming his bollocks off. Well, hold on to your hats, folks, because the truth is far more fucked up.
Those Nazis were masters of propaganda, but they were shit at originality. They basically stole the salute and tried to dress it up as some ancient Roman tradition. Oh, look at us, we're so powerful and historically important. What a load of bollocks.
So, let's cut the crap. Where the hell did this salute actually come from?
Well, one piece of the puzzle comes from the Heil greeting, which was popular with those pan-German nut jobs in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. You know, the guys who were all about unifying all German-speaking people into one big-ass empire? And this greeting was particularly loved by an Austrian anti-Semite named Georg Ritter von Schirner, a real piece of work even Hitler looked up to.
Wait, so Hitler was fanboying over this Schirner dude. What a surprise, another unoriginal fascist twat.
Yep, Hitler was a massive fanboy. He ripped off Schirner's Heil greeting, stole his Führer title, and probably even copied his haircut.
God, those Nazis were like the ultimate posers.
Huh.
But how did some obscure Austrian greeting become the Nazi salute we all know and hate?
Well, that's where things get really fucking interesting. Because believe it or not, the next piece of this twisted puzzle comes from America.
Wait, you're telling me those apple pie-loving, baseball-watching Americans had something to do with the fucking Nazi salute?
Yeah.
You're taking the piss, right?
Dead serious. From the 1890s to World War II, Americans used a gesture called the Bellamy salute when reciting the Pledge of Allegiance.
Uh-huh.
And guess what? It looked almost exactly like the Nazi salute.
No shit. So those Nazis were copying Americans. Talk about awkward.
It gets even weirder. Early Italian films also played a role in this Frankensteinian mess. There was this 1914 silent film called Cabiria that featured a similar salute in a Roman context. The Italian fascists, those Mussolini-loving dudes, saw that and thought, hey, that looks badass, let's steal it.
So basically, the Nazi salute was a mishmash of stolen ideas. A bit of Austrian, a bit of American, and a bit of Italian, all mashed together like some disgusting ideological stew. Fucking pathetic.
It's almost comical how desperate those Nazis were to appear legitimate. They even published articles claiming the salute had been used in Germany since 1921, which was a complete and utter lie.
Really?
And Hitler himself made up this bullshit story about seeing the salute in a Bremen beer hall, saying it meant, see, I have no weapon in my hand.
See, I have no weapon in my hand. Now let me go start a world war and commit genocide. What a crock of shit.
Exactly. Propaganda was the Nazis' bread and butter.
Right.
They controlled the narrative, twisting history, and manipulating the truth to make themselves look like the good guys.
So how did this bullshit salute go from some fringe greeting to something everyone in Germany had to do? I bet they weren't exactly asking politely.
Oh, hell no. They didn't ask, they demanded. It was all about enforcement and intimidation. By 1933, just a few months after Hitler came to power, the Nazi salute became mandatory for all public employees and school children. Even dinner guests were expected to chuck a Heil Hitler before they could tuck into their schnitzel.
So if you wanted a job, an education, or even just a decent meal, you had to play the Nazi game. Fucking hell, that's bleak. But did anyone actually stand up to those fascist bastards? Did anyone tell them to shove their salute where the sun don't shine?
Oh, they did. And in some of the most ingenious ways you can imagine. Because when you're dealing with a regime as batshit crazy as the Nazis, sometimes you gotta fight back with a healthy dose of absurdity.
All right, spill the beans. What kind of crazy shit did people do to resist?
Well, some people went to hilarious lengths to avoid being seen as supporters. There were reports of vaudeville performers training monkeys to do the Nazi salute. Imagine that. A room full of people watching a chimpanzee throwing up its arm and yelling, Sieg Heil!
Monkeys doing the Nazi salute?
Yeah.
That's fucking brilliant. I bet those Gestapo tricks weren't laughing, though.
Not one bit. They were so pissed off that they issued orders to have the monkeys destroyed. Can you believe that? They were so obsessed with controlling every aspect of life, they even wanted to dictate how monkeys saluted.
Jesus Christ, talk about taking things way too fucking far. Those Nazis were truly humorless bastards.
But the point is, even in the face of this insane level of control, people found ways to resist. They risked their lives to show they weren't buying into the Nazi bullshit. They used humor, satire, and good old-fashioned defiance to chip away at the Nazi facade.
You know, it's kind of inspiring in a twisted way. It shows that even when the world seems like it's gone completely mad, there are always people who are willing to stand up and say, fuck you, I'm not playing your game.
Absolutely. And that's a lesson we can all learn from, even today. Because the fight against fascism, against hatred and intolerance, it's a fight that never truly ends.
Damn right.
All right, you degenerates. Back for more. Let's dig deeper into how those Nazi fuckers enforced this salute. Because trust me, it wasn't just a friendly suggestion.
Oh yeah, we were talking about those who refused to hail those Nazi wankers.
Yeah.
Did they just get a slap on the wrist?
A
stern talking to?
Are you kidding? We're talking about the fucking Nazis here. Those bastards didn't fuck around. By the end of 1934, they had special courts set up just to deal with those who refused to salute.
Special courts. Just for not doing some stupid arm gesture.
Yeah.
Talk about being control freaks.
Control was the whole fucking point. They wanted absolute obedience. And refusing to salute, even in private, was seen as a direct challenge to their authority. You could end up in a concentration camp just for keeping your arm by your side.
Jesus Christ, all that for a fucking salute.
Yeah.
That's beyond fucked up.
Take the case of Paul Schneider, a Protestant preacher who flat out refused to hail Hitler. This guy was a real badass. He saw it as idolatry, worshipping a false god, and he encouraged his congregation to do the same.
So he basically told the Nazis to shove their salute up their asses. Balls of steel, that guy.
He paid a heavy fucking price for it. The Nazis arrested him, tortured him, and eventually murdered him in Buchenwald concentration camp, just for refusing to raise his arm.
Fucking hell. It's mind-blowing how much power those Nazis had over people's lives, just for stupid fucking gesture. But it wasn't just Germans who had to deal with this shit, right?
Foreigners weren't immune to the Nazi pressure cooker. There's this story about the Portuguese consul general getting the shit kicked out of him by the Sturmabteilung. Those Nazi stormtroopers, basically thugs in brown shirts, just because he didn't salute a procession in Hamburg.
Those brown shirts were notorious for being violent assholes.
Right.
But seriously, beating up a diplomat for not doing a salute? Talk about a diplomatic incident.
The Nazis didn't give a damn about diplomacy. They were all about power and intimidation, and they used their propaganda machine to spread their message of hate and control far and wide.
Speaking of propaganda, what about those chants they were always yelling at their rallies? Sieg Heil and all that crap. What was that all about?
Yes, the infamous Sieg Heil chant. It wasn't just a verbal salute, it was a carefully orchestrated spectacle of mass obedience. You'd have hundreds of thousands of people screaming Sieg Heil in unison at those Nuremberg rallies. It was chilling, man.
I can only imagine. A sea of stiff arms and screaming fanatics. It must have been like something out of a horror film.
It was. The Nazis were masters of spectacle. They understood the power of symbolism and ritual. Think about it. Those rallies were like massive propaganda events. You had the flags, the uniforms, the marching, and then the chants. It was all designed to create sense of unity, power, and blind obedience.
And to brainwash people into following Hitler, right?
Exactly. At the 1934 Nuremberg rally, Rudolf Hess, Hitler's right-hand man, ended his speech by saying, "The party is Hitler, but Hitler is Germany, just as Germany is Hitler. Hitler, Sieg Heil." See what he did there? He completely blurred the lines between the Nazi party, Hitler, and Germany itself. It was all one big fucked up entity.
Sneaky bastard. But it seems like even the German military wasn't too keen on this Nazi salute bullshit at first. What's the story there?
The Wehrmacht, the German armed forces, initially resisted adopting the salute. They wanted to stick to their traditional military salutes. They saw the Nazi salute as, a bit too political.
So even those hardcore German generals thought the Nazi salute was a bit much.
At first, yeah. They had their own traditions, their own hierarchy, and they weren't too keen on letting some upstart politician dictate how they saluted. But the Nazis weren't going to let the military get away with that. In 1933, they forced a compromise. Soldiers could use their traditional salutes, except when singing the national anthem or the Horswessellied, which was the Nazi party anthem, or when greeting civilian officials.
Sounds like a bureaucratic nightmare. So did the Nazis eventually force the military to fully adopt their stupid salute?
You bet they did. But it took a failed assassination attempt on Hitler in 1944 to make it happen. Goebbels, the Nazi propaganda minister, convinced Hitler that forcing the military to use the Nazi salute would be a way to test their loyalty. Hitler, paranoid as always, agreed. And from that point on, the Nazi salute became mandatory for the entire German military.
Talk about a power move. Those Nazis knew how to exploit a situation to their advantage.
It's a chilling reminder of the totalitarian grip they had on Germany. They controlled everything. The media, the schools, the military, even people's private lives.
All this talk about salutes and chants is getting me pretty fucking depressed. Did anyone ever poke fun at this Nazi bullshit? Did anyone have the balls to laugh in the face of those humorless bastards?
Oh, yeah. People found ways to resist through humor. It's amazing how, even in the darkest of times, people find a way to laugh. Remember, Heil also means to heal in German. So people would joke responding to the salute with, "Is he sick?" or "You heal him."
That's fucking brilliant. Taking the piss out of the Nazis right to their faces. I bet they didn't appreciate the humor.
Not one bit. They had absolutely no sense of humor, those bastards. But people kept finding ways to subvert their propaganda. They'd twist the phrase, like changing Heil Hitler to ein Liter, meaning 1 liter of beer. Or they'd make puns like the one about how lucky it was Hitler's name wasn't Kräuter, medicinal herbs. Otherwise, they have to go around yelling, "Heil Kräuter!"
Those are pretty damn good, actually. Especially the beer one. Makes you wonder if they were just secretly craving a pint.
Maybe they were. But those jokes, however silly they may seem, were acts of defiance. They were a way for people to hold on to a bit of their humanity and humor in the face of tyranny. Even under the constant threat of arrest, or worse, they refused to let the Nazis completely control their lives.
It's inspiring, really. Shows you that even when faced with pure evil, the human spirit can still find a way to shine through. Whether it's through acts of courage, defiance, or just a well-placed joke, people always find a way to resist oppression.
And that's a powerful message, isn't it? That even in the darkest of times, there's always hope. There's always the potential for resistance.
Damn right. All right, you drunken degenerates, welcome back to the deep dive. We've been knee-deep in the shit show that is the Nazi salute, haven't we?
Indeed, we've journeyed from its hilariously unoriginal beginnings to the truly fucked up ways it was enforced.
And we've seen how people told those fascist wankers to fuck off, even if it meant risking their necks. But here's the thing. That salute didn't just vanish with the fall of the Third Reich, did it?
Unfortunately not. Like a nasty rash, it keeps popping up in the most unexpected places.
Yeah, you still see those neo-Nazi dickheads throwing it around. It's like they're trying to cosplay history's biggest losers.
It's become a symbol of hate, a calling card for far-right groups who want to spread their toxic bullshit. In some countries, like Germany, Austria, and Slovakia, chucking a Nazi salute, whether you yell "Sieg Heil" or just stick your arm out, can land you in the slammer.
Good. Those fuckers deserve a one-way ticket to prison.
There have been some high-profile cases, too. Remember Prince Ernst August of Hanover? That royal prince got dragged to court for giving the Nazi salute to a baggage inspector at an airport. Claimed it was ironic.
Ironic? What a load of bollocks.
Yeah.
Some people just can't resist being edgy assholes.
The court didn't buy it either. He ended up with a hefty fine and a bruised ego. Then there was this pensioner in Germany who taught his dog Adolf to raise his paw in a Nazi salute every time he said, "Heil Hitler."
Wait, what? A Nazi dog? Are you taking the piss?
Dead serious. The guy went to prison for it. Apparently even dogs can be indicted for hate crimes these days.
Fucking hell. It's insane that this shit is still happening, even after everything we know about the Nazis and the horrors they unleashed.
And it's not just Europe, mate. Neo-Nazis all over the world have adopted the salute, often tweaking it slightly to try and skirt hate speech laws. They're like cockroaches. They adapt and survive no matter how hard you try to stamp them out.
It's pathetic, really. They're like a bunch of edgy teenagers trying to shock everyone with their dangerous views. But it's not shocking. It's just sad and pathetic.
And then you have the truly bizarre incidents, the ones that make you wonder if humanity has completely lost its collective mind. Like in 2004, when a bunch of Iranian football fans started doing Nazi salutes during a friendly match against Germany. Talk about a diplomatic clusterfuck.
Seriously, what the fuck were those people thinking?
Beats me. Maybe they thought it was a good way to cheer on their team, or maybe they were just massive assholes. Then there was this Greek footballer in 2013 who did the salute after scoring a goal. He got a lifetime ban from the national team, which was richly deserved.
Good riddance, I say. Sports and politics shouldn't mix, but celebrating a goal with a gesture that symbolizes genocide? That's beyond the fucking pale.
Couldn't agree more. And let's not forget about that white supremacist Richard Spencer in the U.S. Back in 2017, his supporters were chanting "Hail Trump" and throwing up Nazi salutes like it was 1930s Berlin. It was a truly disturbing echo of the past.
Yeah, that whole alt-right movement was a fucking nightmare. It's terrifying how quickly hate can rear its ugly head, even in a country that prides itself on freedom and democracy.
It's a constant reminder that we can never let our guard down. We have to be vigilant in calling out this bullshit and fighting against these ideologies of hate.
Damn right. So what do we learn from this deep dive into the cesspool of history? What's the takeaway for our listeners besides, don't be a Nazi?
I think the Nazi salute is a powerful warning from history. It shows how a seemingly harmless gesture can be twisted and corrupted, used to promote the most evil fucking ideology the world has ever seen. It's a testament to the dangers of conformity, blind obedience, and surrendering your critical thinking skills to a charismatic demagogue.
It also shows us how important it is to speak out against injustice, even when it's scary as shit. Those who resisted the Nazis, whether through quiet acts of defiance or full-blown rebellion, are an inspiration to us all.
Absolutely. Their courage reminds us that we always have a choice. We can choose to conform, to stay silent, to go along with the crowd, or we can choose to stand up, speak out, and fight for what we believe in.
So the next time you see some dickhead throwing up a Nazi salute, don't just stand there and gawk. Call them out for the ignorant prick they are. And never forget the millions who suffered and died under the tyranny of those Nazi bastards. Let their memory be a reminder to fight for a world where this kind of shit never happens again.
Well, that's about it for our deep dive into the Nazi salute. Hope you learned something, you magnificent bastards. And remember, think for yourselves, question everything, and never be afraid to tell those in power to go fuck themselves.
Stay curious, stay skeptical, and stay pissed off. We'll catch you on the next deep dive.